Hello, friends. We are back. Week 3 spoiler tournament. This is Freddeh versus Eri, and this is a 3-0 match, which is pretty hype. My name is Kern. Before we get too deep into it, I'm joined by Hammer Bro. How's it going, Hammer?
I'm doing great. This is one of those races that's kind of heartbreaking because you know that there's one person out of here who's not going to be undefeated after it. But all we can do is hope for a good match and, just kind of swallow the defeat when it happens. But I'm looking forward to a great race. These guys are awesome at this game, and it's going to be a blast.
So these players can both take, even if whoever loses this, can still take 2 additional defeats before they are for realsies knocked out of the tournament. Otherwise, if they take 2 losses in total, the schedule strength will determine who moves on. And both of these runners are in pretty good position. Freddeh having come here against T-Stew and Ack, which are going to be 2 very good, very well scheduled players. And Eri also coming up against Cadenza and Jetto Man. So I think that their schedule strength is not going to be too bad. Even if both of them end up taking 2 losses, they're in pretty good shape.
Good point. That's a lot of information there that I did not know. So chin up for both of the runners here. One of them is going to be in a really, really, really good spot. The other one's still going to be in a pretty good position. We did get a really early Cane of Samaria just sitting in Sanctuary there. I'd love some magic to go with it, but, by itself, it's nice to have, I guess.
And some flippers here inside the dam, and it looks like Fred is going back in. So some interesting item, the sunken treasure could just be as simple as bombs to help them open up some doors. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. And before we get too far into here, I would like to point out this is a spoiler log race, which means our runners have had 15 minutes before this race started to parse through the entire spoiler log. So you're going to see a lot of skipped stuff. And a lot of really early key items that you're seeing here with Eriror and the loaded Blind's hideout, and then Freddeh grabbing the bow from the flooded portion of the dam there.
So Freddeh, this is really, really cool move. Decided to, look at what that crab prey was, saw that it was some arrows, and is stocking up so that they have bow and arrow to take out the Moldorms. I think this is really sick.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where you have to not only comprehend the basic portion of the spoiler log stuff, but you also have to understand the nuances. Hey, I have a bow. I can get arrows up right off of that crab right there, and now I can go through Mini Moldorm Cave. Done.
Oh, dude, I didn't even notice that. Vince Easter pointing out that the final bomb was off the crab as well. Now, that is a really unique thing about the crab that not a lot of people know, is that there is a final drop sometimes, but it is semi-random or something. I'm not exactly sure what makes the final drop appear.
Well, what it is if you can successfully pick up 6 of the initial drop before the crab despawns, the 7th drop, to my knowledge, and I might be incorrect about that, but the 7th drop will be that final drop, quote unquote. And then if you pick that, it will go back to the original drop again as well.
That makes a lot of sense to me, actually, because I never noticed that about the crab behavior, but it does seem to be when you get a lot of drops. And yeah, so I believe that.
Meanwhile, we've found a hook shot. Goodness gracious. Eriror has the gloves and the moon pearl, and then Freddeh going to go grab the hammer off the Zora ledge that we saw here a moment ago.
So that's our Dark World access, all revealed to us anyway. But we're taking very different routes through the Light World. Eri picking up the book, so maybe that's desert access, maybe that's tablets. Maybe Eri just really wants to double check what's on the pedestal.
Not a bad idea. You can never be too sure, even with that spoiler log.
And you know what? I totally, because we were so hyped about this match getting started, I totally neglected to describe what this mode even is. We are in week 3, but yeah, there's a lot of people who still haven't seen a spoiler race. So the way that this works is both runners get access to the spoiler log 15 minutes before go time. They're able to look at the log, make a route. 15 minutes is not as much as you think it is. Then they are allowed to begin racing a seed after that 15 minutes has elapsed. So they're still going to be looking at their log, might even be designing their route as they play. But this just allows them to try to see how quickly they can go through the game when they know where everything is and when they can choose to avoid lots of chests.
And as you had mentioned there, Eriror are going to take that book and go straight into Desert Palace. Meanwhile, Freddeh grabbing the Cane of Burna out of the well as a safety. That's not a bad thing at all, especially if that cape is somewhere hidden. And half magic from the bottle vendor, which Eriror did not grab. Did not have the money at the time.
And here's a nice mobility item that Eri is grabbing in Desert Palace. So it looks like that his route might have been prioritizing grabbing this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was prioritizing grabbing the flute. It's just one of those mobility items that the earlier you get it, the more time you save. Now you don't have to walk down to the dam. You don't have to walk over to Mini Moldworm Cave. You can just flute there.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's something that Freddeh is not too worried about yet. As you can see, does not have the glove required to get that book. So, speaking of gloves, there's another one on the ledge there. And yeah, with that glove on Desert Ledge, we are actually looking at a required book, because you wouldn't be able to flute over there to the back to grab it. In addition to the flute being in, it's just double required. You needed that book, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. It's not surprising at all that Eri did not go to the back of Desert, apart from not having a fire source. Even if one was available, I think you would ideally want to wait until you have better items to finish it off than Cane of Samari and Cane of Burna, which is all Eri has right now.
I mean, yeah, even with a fighter sword, that would not be fun. Freddeh has the hammer, which wouldn't make it terrible, I guess, but the hammer's hitbox plus landmo is... Oh. Nice lamp out of Hype Cave. That is not only an effective, I guess, somewhat safety for most runners at this level, it's also a first fire source, so might be required for that.
Yeah, I mean, with Freddeh picking that up here before going to Desert, he also has better weapons with the hammer and the sword. Could be that he could decide to route in Lamo right then. Eri using a little bit of the iframes you get after being ejected from water to try to not to take too many hits from that murder dactyl. I think that was pretty cool. Pretty cool strat.
Hurt a lot. Nice mirror out of Meyer's shed. It's a pretty good time for it to be useful there. The divergence we've seen so far this seed has been absolutely ridiculous. Our runners have not done pretty much anything at the same time at all, and even to this point have barely crossed paths.
Yeah, it's really unique to see that. I mean, you expect to see a bit of divergence and sync throughout any normal spoiler race, but usually they bottleneck around the same points. But so far, very different paths to the Dark World, a very different prioritization of items. So this is going to be really interesting to see how these routes might pay off. And it's also going to make it harder to tell who might be gaining or losing time based off of execution.
Yeah, that's a good point. With the fact that these spoiler log races tend to be fairly close to begin with, just because one of the main reasons that races tend to get out of hand is that you're looking for an item or two, or someone skips a particular chest and then it ends up changing the entire outcome of the game. That doesn't happen here. So these races usually are within a couple of minutes unless something terrible happens to one of our runners. So it just makes it even more difficult. You're just not going to have any idea who's ahead, probably until we're just about up to GT, if we're being honest.
Yeah, or it could be you have to do some creative justification for trying to decide who's ahead, who's behind. Yeah, Eri now catching up with Freddie's earlier Zora play, as Freddie is now going inside pod. So yeah, Sorry. I keep talking over you right as you start speaking, Hammer. Go ahead.
You're good, man. Go right ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, you know, it's interesting, chat pointing this out too, that Freddeh decides to come in here without a mirror. Eri having the mirror. Mirror does help a little bit in pod. I mean, it helps a lot of it when you're not playing spoiler mode, but in spoiler mode, you know, knowing where the keys are, you can set up some nice death warps and things to not make it too painful. So we'll see how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah, that is a good point. Another thing I'd like to point out here is that pod is probably the most difficult dungeon to do in spoiler log, just depending on the layout of stuff. As we'll see a really nice powder there. That is a wonderful safety to have in spoiler log because your heart count usually doesn't get too high. But like I said, a lot of runners will either choose to kind of do the dungeons as they get to them, or will somewhat route the dungeons in beforehand, but it's really difficult to go through your entire, I guess, overworld route, for lack of a better term, and then worry about specifically what's inside the dungeons as well. And with all of the keys that pod has, it can get overwhelming really fast. So that might be another reason that Eriror is kind of not too worried about pod initially, because then you can kind of get a handle on stuff and perhaps look at pod routing or the other bigger dungeons routing as you go and get a better handle on it before you get up there.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to point out, Eri is in chat. Runners are allowed to watch the restream, listen to it, chat along. They can do whatever they want. This is a spoiler race anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know, we actually welcome them to be here. But Eri's saying whoops, and I was trying to catch up and figure out what the whoops was about. But it looks like he exited without the hammer. So now coming back for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the rules in terms of privacy and what the runners can and cannot do is a lot closer to like an NMG style race than it would be a regular rando, because again, we know where everything is. Well, for some form of the word no, I should say. Ooh, nice boots.
Yeah, this could also be making some. Oh, this is kind of interesting when you. So nice death warp here from Freddeh, by the way. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that it appears that Eri might have been prioritizing some overworld checks, movement, getting the mitts early, just getting access in that flute early. It could very well be that Freddie's strategy was to get to those boots as fast as possible as well. And I've seen that play out. I mean, we've seen that play out in many races so far in the spoiler tournament, and it's not always clear whether or not you should go for those boots as early as possible. So let's see if it pays off for Freddeh.
That's a good point, especially since on the other side, Eriror has gone for the flute relatively early, which is still something that Freddeh does not have. So it's kind of like one versus the other here. You know, you got flute on one end, you got boots on the other. It is in addition to a whole slew of other items as well that, you know, one of them has, the other does not at this point, because it has been so divergent. But it's going to be kind of interesting to see this play out.
Eri maintaining one bomb here, not going to go to the back of Hype Cave. So yeah, he does have one bomb, which is a good number. You don't want to be at 0 anyway. And yeah, looks like he's going to be fluting away, maybe also to pod. Let's find out.
That's a good point. That one bomb, though, does mean that Eriror has one less heart, since there was a full heart container in the back of Hype Cave there.
Yeah, if he is indeed going to pod, he could have very easily spent that bomb and just got it again in the front of pod. There are lots of bomb pods there, but maybe he just decides he does not want to waste the time to get that little bit of safety.
Yeah, that may very well have been what's going on. It might not have anything to do with the bomb count at all, and just everything to do with, well, there's a heart back there, but I don't really care. Runners have different opinions on how many hearts and what mail they're going to need or would prefer to complete the game. And since Eriror did grab that red goo in the back of the well, I believe, or in the well, that Freddeh did not, that's also kind of a bit of a difference there. Eriror might be going, well, I have the red goo, I'm okay with skipping that heart, whereas Freddeh took the heart and skipped the red goo.
Yeah, I mean, the heart was, if you have to choose between the two, you know, the heart is a little bit faster to have grabbed, so it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting when you're looking at your log and trying to figure out what your route is. One of the big questions that come up is how many safeties do I feel comfortable skipping? And the more that you can skip comfortably, then the more time you save by not opening those chests.
If you're asking me, the answer is none of them, please. I want all of them. But yeah, Freddeh just taking the hammer and wailing on Helmsor. Goodness gracious. It's almost to a beat. Speaking of. we go. Finally stopped moving back and forth there and was able to finish it off. So that's going to be 1 crystal in the bag for Freddeh.
Yep, first on the board, but of course, Eri does have more progression. You know, with that book, I don't think Freddie's grabbed that yet. The mirror, the mitts that he was able to grab with that. So, yeah, just a little bit of like not quite exact parity, but we might actually see them sync up again now here, because I imagine that Freddie's going to get those items in not too long, or going to be forced to get them.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all. But for now, we have a race that's completely and totally up in the air, and honestly, that's just the way I like it.
So yeah, without those boots, normally you see people, you know, what Eri's doing here in Pod, you see them bonk across onto that platform. Without those boots, both runners are deciding to just walk up and around. You know, they could have also taken a mirror, but then that would require, you know, him to have used an additional key. It is possible actually to bomb jump across this gap, but you often get interrupted by these beetles here. So in this situation, it might have actually saved you time if you're just coming around to the arena ledge chest. But that bomb jump and also dealing with that beetles does require some creative gameplay, like using the Canis Amaria and maybe bombs and stuff to stun the beetles. But anyway, kind of an interesting moment. You don't often see people go all the way around Pod to get back to that chest.
Yeah, but if it's a situation where you know where all your keys are, you get to skip a couple chests, make it a little quicker. It's really fun. Like, the routing that happens in spoiler log tournaments is unlike any other routing that you will ever see, and that's part of what makes it just amazing to watch.
Yeah, Eri going the long way back around again. I forget if Freddie did this exact same thing or if he ended up opening the front door, but yeah, just trying to retain that small key.
And you are correct. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Freddeh did not. Freddeh is like saved the small key as well. So this is something that they've both done. So, I mean, at this point, we're about 16 and a half minutes in, so right, so it's about time to start talking about go mode. Isn't that what we normally do at about 16 and a half minutes in?
Yeah, exactly. That's the...
I think at this point we're missing bombos and a couple of rods.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, a sword wouldn't go amiss either, but, you know.
Right, yeah, we're gonna need a sword. So Freddie's just about caught up here in terms of the progression items that Eri had. Still needs to get that mirror, though, for complete parity. And we'll see, though, like, if Eri can finish Helma and where Freddie's at once he gets that mirror, maybe we can kind of, like, check in and see if somebody's clearly ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point. So one thing to keep in mind, though, is that Freddeh did manage to get the big key off of the torch in the desert, which is going to make desert just a walk to the back for him, whereas Eriror is going to have to run back in there and grab that big key off the torch.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting little consequence of Freddie deciding to route in the boots earlier than Eri. Ooh, Eri going for some hammer strats here on Helma. Nicely done.
Not easy at all with the fighter sword, because it does not have quite as much reach.
Yeah, you can hold the sword out to, like, kind of extend the hitbox of your hammer just a little bit, but it's still very tight, that hitbox, being able to hit Helma's head. So I don't know. I mean, Freddie looks like not going straight for that mirror, and it's going to do some new stuff here just as Eri finishes up Helma. So they both have done kind of something the other hasn't. Freddie having grabbed that big key in desert, Eri having grabbed that mirror out of Mire Shed. So I would say that they're pretty close to almost exactly together at this point.
Yeah, meanwhile, Freddeh went ahead and grabbed that Bombos medallion from the chess game, and Eriror grabs half magic, so we're slowly filling in stuff the other has not done. Hey, and we are finally going up the mountain. I thought there was going to be nothing up here.
You know, I should point out that, first of all, I am not looking at the log, so I don't know what the answer is. I haven't looked at it at all. I'm unspoiled, but it is very possible that, the mirror isn't really required for anything. I mean, it would make getting back inside desert a bit quicker for Freddie, but, maybe he just doesn't grab it. That's a possibility.
That is fair. If there's nothing sitting in swamp, then that mirror is going to be optional. So that's a good point.
Freddie almost goes in the top/bottom way into Paradox Cave, but realizes he cannot mirror cancel that block away.
Speaking of that mirror.
Yeah, so this is like a good kind of reminder of how, stressful these spoiler races are and how like rapidly your brain muscles are firing to try to keep up with everything. You had 15 minutes, a frantic 15 minutes to try to design the best route you could, and you're likely still routing as you play. You're trying to execute like perfectly as you verify where you're supposed to go next and think through it all. And it is very easy to just have like a little brain farts like that throughout the course of the race.
Yeah, not to mention, even outside of all of that, muscle memory's hard, man. Like, you get used to doing things a certain way, and you just keep doing it. You're like, oh wait, I didn't have to do that. It doesn't matter. Too late.
Hey, speaking of swamp, looks like Eri is coming in for some reason.
Oh, why is there something here? Why couldn't we have there be nothing here? It's appendix. Come on. Speaking of places we were hoping there was nothing.
Yeah, Tile Room in Tower of Hera. Don't get to see this very often in the spoiler tournament.
Especially not with that new Herapot strat we have come up with.
Yeah, usually this is going to be indicative of either, you don't have the hook shots, you can't Herapot, which we do, or it's indicative of something being in the big chest.
Yeah, because I am pretty sure that Freddeh knows how to do the Herapot.
Eri grabbing a rod out of the compass chest. There. Freddie gets the big key, does not have the mirror, so is going to have to dash out.
Yeah, that is ice rod out of swamps. We are just looking for that fire rod, I believe. And honestly, with the big key that Freddeh grabbed, I wouldn't be too terribly surprised to see it show up somewhere here.
Eri going for that hook speed there, got a little bit bullied by that dead rock, but bullied him back in response. If you have not done super speed, this is a public service announcement. If you have not done super speed before with the hook shot out to bully the dead rocks back, let me tell you, it is the most cathartic thing you could choose to do in the randomizer.
It's definitely one of those moments where you're just like, yes, as we see a fire rod. So we are officially in knowledge of everything required to beat the game mode.
Yeah, exactly. We can't really say go mode in spoiler races. It doesn't make as much sense, but at least now we know where all the items are. We know.
Again, yeah, our runners know for some variable of the word no.
Ajder pointing out that, yeah, we don't know where the final sword or swords are, but I'm betting that that's not going to dictate the route too much. A lot would have to happen in order to force us to get a specific sword in a bad location. There's likely going to be one on the way, right? Comcurse.
I mean, we can hope, right? It's got to be there somewhere.
Oh, I attributed that comm check to Ojder. It was actually Firgus, but, you know, same thing. All right, Freddie now going to go into the Mire area, which I'm thinking is just the mirror, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Right in the Mire shed. It's okay. I was thinking, but instead we're going into Mire.
Oh, okay. Sword. Yeah, the fighter sword, I mean, doesn't make a huge difference in this dungeon to have fighter sword as long as you're doing Silver's Vidi, so should be okay. I mean, you can't do sword beam strats in this first room, but whoa my goodness. I am quite impressed by Freddie there, that he slashed the right, I think it's a popo, I don't know what that thing's called, and then he was able to still get to the first Wizrobe before he despawned. That's pretty tight.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that, but I've honestly stopped even caring at this point. Like, when you calm a decent amount of races, just usually once every couple weeks you see something that some part inside of you is just screaming, "What? I didn't know you could do that," and the rest of you has just become numb to it. You just, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that would have been possible for him to have one-cycled that Wizrobe room, you know, with some other creative strats. I don't know, maybe arrows to get that right Wizrobe. I mean, I know that there are some involving Kane, but anyway, that was pretty cool to see the first Wizrobe anyway be taken care of so roundly.
So we have a big key and a small key, but we're still running around in here.
Yeah, maybe a sword would be my guess.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Harry gonna go finish off Paradox Cave, just as Freddie did. I forget what was here. Was it just hearts or something?
Well, there were the silvers.
Oh, right, the silvers, right.
And yeah, good call on the sword.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything else that like Freddie would go too far out of his way to grab. Harry bomb jumping back up. This could be to go to Turtle Rock, or maybe Dark Death Mountain for maybe another sword or something. But if there was a sword in Turtle Rock, this kind of makes sense as a play to decide to go to Turtle Rock now, get that sword to help you defeat, you know, Cold Stare and all those other bosses.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not going to make a difference in terms of mountain climbs, since Eriror is going to have to come back up here anyways. But if you're comfortable doing TR with Blue Mail and 6 hearts, yeah, go for it.
I'm not sure what happened here with Freddie, but it looks like the Spooky Mire got disabled somehow.
You sure?
Oh, maybe not. Well, he couldn't get it on the spike. Maybe it was just a matter of missing the spike.
I don't know anymore. I have no comprehension of that glitch other than it's awesome to watch.
But yeah, this is a play that Ari is doing now that Freddie did not have the choice to do because he did not pick up the mirror first. He would have had to have walked back from Tower of Hera over to Turtle Rock. So I guess he did have the choice. It just wouldn't have been quite as efficient for him as it happened to be for Ari, having grabbed that mirror before coming here. I think Freddie's idea here was to do Mire, Desert, you know, all that stuff kind of in one swift motion, do Mire Shed while he's finishing up Mire. So trying to be just a little more efficient in that way.
Yeah, honestly, when you're looking at the spoiler log and trying to come up with routes, it's all gray area. It's almost impossible to come up with, you know, what's going to save you 5 seconds over the other. In some instances, it's obvious, but in a lot of other instances, even after the race, you're kind of sitting there scratching your head going, I don't know, was that faster? I hope so.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense of our 15-minute, you know, time limit to study the log here because, you know, if you had more time, you would definitely have runners like Kyung last year during the qualifiers who would, you know, actually try a bunch of these different things out and time them and see, okay, well, if I take this route, it's 15 minutes and 26 seconds. This one's 15 minutes and 20 seconds if done optimally. And you can really go down like a deep rabbit hole trying to optimally route these things. So it's kind of nice when you don't have the pressure to be like perfectly optimal and you know that your opponent is going to be under time pressure too.
I mean, say what you want, it still feels absolutely terrible running through this log as fast as you can, just hoping you don't forget something.
Oh god, yeah. No, it's super stressful. And yeah, and as
that, you just have to beat the game with no health and no safety.
Exactly. Yeah, once you've verified, you know, in your game that the route that you came up with actually does work, then yeah, now you have the challenge of doing all the hard stuff. But yeah, no, it is a lot harder than it looks. I will say that, like, than it might appear on its face, and it's very, very stressful. That's why you expect to see, even in 3-0 matches like this between Freddeh and Eri, you expect to see them have at least a couple of brain fart moments or deaths or something, because this mode really does tax you in a really unique way for Rando.
Freddeh getting hit twice during Landmo and still pulling off a 1 cycle. I give up.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. And I think also just maybe a little bit helped by RNG there. I mean, both hurt and helped by RNG.
Alright, so that is 4 crystals for Freddeh. Goodness gracious. That just kind of snuck up on me. And Eriror's gone through 2 of the longer ones here. Almost done with TR. That'll be a 3rd.
Yeah, looks like Freddie's catching up now with the rod differential between the two of them. But this will make it kind of hard to tell, again, who has the lead definitively until we can sync up a little bit more.
Which that's not going to happen until the very end, because Freddeh is not going to be climbing the mountain again until GT, basically. Until TR.
Yeah, we might be able to take an educated guess at the lead, but it's going to be just that, a guess. Eri getting a little bit bullied here by this red beetle, trying to get the small key.
And then giving some happy slashes in remembrance of the red beetle. You know, this ice ride location would not have been fun in a non-spoiler log seed. Like, it wouldn't have been full-on terrible, but no one wants to go independent swamp.
Yeah, you would have been easily baited to go into Turtle Rock looking for that ice rod. Looks like Eri is going for Master Sword start on Trinex here. Oh, that's saved in menu. I didn't know you could do that in 2 cycles still using Master Sword and Hammer combo. That's interesting. So that's saved in menu there, or 2 menus actually.
I mean, you probably can't do it, but you know. Again, these guys are insane. I guess I shouldn't speak for you. I know I wouldn't have been able to do it. Yeah, that is Trinex down like it didn't even matter for Eriror. That's going to be a 3rd crystal as Freddeh is doing a little ring around the rosy here to grab that ice rod. Alright, so at this point we are looking at Skullwoods, which is not going to take very long. A Go Mode Ice Palace, I swear, I can talk. It's not like I do this for a hobby or anything. With Icebreaker, this is a really quick dungeon to run through, actually, especially since our runners know there's nothing in here they need, since, well, we're already in Go Mode. And then TR for Freddeh. Meanwhile, Eriror has the Desert Mire combo, which we know isn't going to take too terribly long, and then a really fast Ice Palace, really fast Skull Woods. And that's it. So it's going to just be a sprint. Here we go.
Yeah, it should be sub 1. I think it totally possible for these runners. Yeah, Tap pointing out, if Eri does decide to get the Temper Sword here, he's going to have that for the rest of the boss fights. With half magic, though, Trinex's already down, and, you know, there's not a ton of reason, actually, to get that Tempered Sword. He would have to believe that it's going to save him time on the boss fights, the Gauntlet Climb, and on the Ganon fight. And honestly, just thinking about it, like, optimally, I'm not actually sure that that third sword is worth it for Eri in particular. For Freddeh, it might have been worth it, since it meant Master Sword instead of Fighter Sword, but I'm not sure it's worth it for Eri.
Well, not to nitpick too much here, but with Eriror grabbing that small key first, I'm thinking that he's going to go get that sword. He would have.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because, I mean, you also have to keep in mind, depending on where that fourth sword is, Master Sword versus Tempered, that saves quite a bit of time on Ganon.
Optimally, optimally it saves one phase 1 cycle, which is just a few seconds. I think most really skilled runners will do something like a 2-and-2, so that'll save, I don't know, something like 20 seconds. So it's not an enormous difference, but I guess if you're looking at a 2-and-2, then maybe it makes sense to grab the sword just for safety's sake.
Right, and that's not even to speak of like the gauntlet, because a lot of enemies will go down to that Master Sword, but some of them don't, and everything goes down to the Tempered Sword. So
yeah, that's a good point.
You're putting yourself up to much less RNG with having a Tempered Sword. Like, the Gauntlet and such can still be terrible and can still really troll you, but at least then you know that you're not hitting anything multiple times. Yeah, that's a good point with that sword differential here, because Freddeh has Master Sword going into Cold Stare, so saving that magic, and
ooh, takes a hit from one of the Cold Stare puffs.
And honestly, so with how good our runners are, you don't frequently think consciously about the fact that they have 6 hearts, but then when you get hit once and you're almost dead, that suddenly brings it into stark contrast, like, whoa, that could have been really, really bad.
Eri deciding to do spin strats here with 7 hearts against Vitreous, despite having silver arrows, so maybe just a attempt at saving some arrows there, but that was pretty cool to see.
You know, I make a comment about you guys having low health, and then Eriror, you just went and did spin strats anyways. Like, thanks.
Yeah, Boyan pointing out in chat that that's technically faster because you don't have the lag of the silver arrows, and that makes all sense. Yeah, Eri confirming that himself too in chat. Yeah, I mean, if you're confident with those spin strats, then why not go for it? I mean, the only reason you do spin strats instead is because it's safer.
Sorry, I can't get over being confident with Viddy with 7 hearts, period. So I'm just gonna leave that one alone. Alright, so Freddeh skipping right to the back for Skull Woods as Eriror is making his way towards Lambda. So it looks like in approximation, we are going to have a TR versus a Skull Woods Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
And TR being one of those dungeons that, even if you're going through it in go mode, it's not generally too terribly much faster.
Yeah, these go mode dungeons, like particularly ice, obviously, huge difference to go mode it versus full clear. But yeah, Crow Rock, I mean, at least we know where the keys are, so we can avoid some chests sometimes in spoiler logs, but still, you have to basically traverse every room in the dungeon, regardless of how you route it.
Nice moth fight, and we are pretty much sitting at synced crystal pickups here.
Yeah, and as Ares also picking up the Skullwoods Ice Palace dungeon, there's that mountain climb ahead too that's it's gonna make it really hard to tell exactly who's ahead. You know, even once they do kind of catch up a little bit here. Maybe
I told you, we'll know once they get into GT.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought we might be able to make an educated guess, but I don't know that I'm going to be educated enough to make a guess.
I'm certainly not, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and say, it's close, guys. We'll see when we get there.
Nice Waffle House drive-through from Freddeh.
Yeah, that's not something you even have the opportunity to do very much because dead rocks are mean. But when everything lines up really nicely between the dead rocks and the cabbages and execution and frame perfect inputs, you can manage it, and it looks really stinking cool. You know, overall, this seed was pretty kind in terms of items. We did have to go into Swamp to grab the Ice Rod, but that was relatively early. And then the Thieves Town just had nothing, and so did Eastern, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it makes for relatively fast. And definitely not the fastest spoiler seed we've seen, but on the faster side.
I mean, it's not going to be the faster seed we've seen when you're stuck with Meyer TR crystals. It's just not going to happen.
Exactly, yeah.
Eriror is showing more confidence than I ever have. I do not pull out that mirror unless I'm literally getting ready to use it.
Nice quick moth kill. Only gets to see 1 or 2 spikes come away from the wall, which is pretty good with the Tempered Sword. But yeah, definitely, I think it was slightly faster fight. Definitely, maybe. Slightly faster fight than Freddeh had because he was on Master Sword at the time.
Yeah, definitely much quicker. And then Cold Stare, if done optimally, is going to be faster as well.
Yeah, Eri being one of, I think, 3, or is it still 3 or is it 4 now? 3 or 4 people in the world who have a 123 in the NMG run. I gotta imagine he's incredibly consistent at a Cold Stare quick kill, but watch me calm curse it.
Well, Eriror will be in chat to give you a hard time if you do, so... At least we know you won't get away with it.
That's... yeah.
Yeah, it's in situations like this that you start to realize just how much of a slog TR is. Like, you know, Eriror is going to be to Cold Stare.
Oh. That looked like it was maybe intentional on Freddie's part there. I mean, he does have some powder here if he wants to replenish health. Yeah, it looks like he's going to do that exactly. So maybe just didn't really feel like it was worth it to item to the like a cane or something there to try to get the iframes and just see if he can't gamble on not getting hit by the chain chomps, knowing full well he might, but that he would still live.
Yeah, because going through that room and knowing that you can't get hit by the chain chomps is terrifying, but going through the room and knowing that you can't get hit twice isn't nearly as bad. If you know you can absorb 1 hit, then you can usually prevent it from getting too terribly out of hand.
Oh, Freddie wanting to flip that switch. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that switch being flipped makes the crystal roller room quite a bit kinder. Especially since I believe Eriror dashed right through it, so we didn't have to pick up the chest. I don't know that for certain, but I think so.
Dash right through what?
The crystal roller room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't remember. You probably remember better than I do. Here we go. Cold Sear fight. Nice. All right.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, Ari's got to climb the mountain. Freddie is just like 3 rooms away from the TR boss, whose name is Trinex. I know boss names. But I think Freddie even might still have a lead over Eri here. It's really hard to tell. That climb takes longer than you think it does. Oh, yeah, right. He has to pick up the small key on the laser bridge. I forgot about that.
Also, when you're grabbing that tempered sword, so we finally do have some sword evenness here. And yeah, just pulling out the cane. No reason to mess with it.
Eri getting rocked here.
And between the dead rocks and the cabbages, there is a lot of lag that showed up on that screen for a bit there, too.
This is going to be quite the sync. I think, actually, Eri might have it in the end here, just because of how long the crystal cutscene will take.
I'm thinking the same thing, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, and obviously the race is not going to be decided at this point. It's going to really come down to the GT climb and maybe even the fight. We'll see.
Oh no, he gets dead rocked again.
Oh no, and has to off-screen him in order to get him to unfreeze.
Alright, so really quickly, guys, there are 22 chests in the GT basement that could contain that big key. Don't give me a number since we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of chests open. Give me the room, and if there's more than one chest in the room, go ahead and give me that chest location as well. We're going to be going off of Eriror's count, since even with the double dead rocking here, Eriror is going to have probably about a 20-second head start, if I had to guess.
I think you're right. Maybe 20, 30-second head start.
In line with the spoiler log, tile room is not the trolley location. It normally is. The big trolling location is the vanilla room. And
so based off of the screen transition that the Freddie just did off of the TR screen, Eri has a 32-second lead. With runners that are this skilled, 3-0, it's going to be hard to see them have a 30-second difference in execution. So, you know, really this just comes down to like flubs or like RNG, enemies getting away from you and taking a bit longer in those rooms and stuff like that would be what can make up or lose this difference.
Yeah, especially with that key being in home room right there.
Yeah, that gives us just that many fewer rooms to try to like just gain time via execution. But the fact that it is this close between them with such divergent routes, I find super cool.
Alright, so here we go. You get to see 2 runners fly through this gauntlet. I swear this set of rooms is difficult. It really genuinely is. They don't generally make it look difficult, and now that I've opened my mouth, I'm probably going to regret that, but, you know. Freddeh is continuing on?
Might be maybe another sword here or a safety. Yeah, looks like maybe he wanted that gold sword.
Interesting pickup there.
Yeah, it doesn't typically save you like a cycle on Ganon or anything like that. But you know, you could do some weird things, like if you were planning on powdering the bunny beam in the room before land mode 2, having gold sword allows you to still one cycle those land modes, which it's kind of hard to do if you're going to powder the bunny beam here without butter sword. But Eri just dashes right past it. I think he might still even have a red potion from before.
Yeah, you are correct. I don't believe that red goo has been used, and it doesn't matter. Land mode goes down really fast anyways. And yeah, you had mentioned the goal of sub-hour. It looks like we're going to pretty easily get a sub-55 here, honestly, from both our runners.
Yeah.
Especially with silvers, because we will not be seeing any spins here required for Ganon.
Here we go. Eri in Torch 2 as Freddeh is just about finishing the climb.
Yeah, we have Moldorm 2 coming up as Freddeh just finishes land mode 2 there. Whoop, that's bonk.
Man, this has been such a this has been such a clean Ganon's Tower from Eri. It's insane to watch.
It is, especially if you like consider like at your own level, like okay, this is how long it would take me just to save so much time off of that. It's insane. The amount of climbs that these runners do just to get good at all of the RNG and everything else is ridiculous.
See what kind of Aga patterns we get here. Oh my god. What was that triple? I would not have guessed that you could have safely got that triple from the location that Eri was standing. That was pretty ridiculous. Not gonna lie.
I didn't even know you could do that. I tell you, once every week, it seems like you see something, you're like, you could do that? That was an option? Already getting trolled with a bomb there. It looked like it was close enough to open it, but the door not having it. Alright, Ganon, what do you have for us today? Generic bad guy speech number 3. Got it. Meanwhile, Freddeh gets trolled a little bit by the Worm of Doom.
Nice double there.
Wow! Chat for Eriror, finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 26 seconds. That does include the 15-minute study log period, so the race time was 53 minutes and 26 seconds.
Yeah, nice race. As Freddeh is now getting picked up by the bird, being dropped off at the Ganon fight. Hey, now joined by Eri. Good game, Eri.
Yo, thanks. Nice seed.
Yeah, what was up with that Aga 2 triple on that first cycle there?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
I don't even know you could do that, like be that close and do a spin there.
Yeah, I mean, the Aga 2 shadows don't have hitbox, so you can just stand and then reflect the ball basically from their origin.
That's super cool.
It's only the real Aga 2 that has a hitbox, so you might want to stay away from those. Yeah, overall, Steve was pretty good. I had some small derps early on, like some weird sequencing. I had like kind of messy notes at the start, so it was pretty hard to figure that out. So other than that, like aftergo mode, it was pretty nice.
Is there like a reason for what you think might have been messy notes at the start? Like, was there something kind of hard to try to figure out how to route?
There were just a lot of separate pieces that kind of fit together, and I wanted to put them all together with the flute and mirror. And then I was too focused on getting the hook shot for Mini Modern Cave because it was just it's just nicer rather than using the bow or bombs or scenario or something. But then I forgot to get the hammer after getting the hook shot. That was mostly it.
That was probably the biggest brain fart of the run, which is pretty nice when you could do a spoiler race and have that be the biggest brain fart because it wasn't like run ending. Freddie now finishing up.
Yep, finishing second place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 28 seconds. So that is 55 minutes and 28 seconds for playing time. Speaking of which, GG, my friend.
GG's. GG's Eriror.
Yo, GG's Freddie.
Yeah, pretty crazy like how divergent your routes ended up being, especially in the beginning for like the first 20-30 minutes of it, but for the race to have been so close at the end, I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of just kind of random things you could do in almost any order. Like, I tried to be slightly more efficient by that start with the start down to South Shore, but I still had to go to Link, or to the castle early, or to Kakariko early, just to be able to get the right things, and then go straight from Sahasrara to Pod, but I wanted to make sure to have the lamp for that, and since lamp was required anyway, there wasn't really any reason not to. So I'd figure I'd just do the lamp and then run from there to get the boots, just to ensure I didn't have an issue with Pod. Other than that, yeah, like I decided to leave the mirror for later because I didn't really need it at that point. Like, it technically would have been faster to get out of Hera Basement, but not enough to matter, I think, than having to mirror out. I don't know. It's hard choices for quite a few different places there, so ultimately it probably just came down to execution, honestly.
Yeah. Like, I was watching the restream, and I thought it was really hard to tell at some point. You only had to do TR, and I had to do Skullwoods and Ice. And so I already had Temperate, so my bosses were a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, fair. I had a really not clean Cold Stare. That was a little scary.
But on the other hand, I really think your route was good. I was watching, I was like, oh, damn, he is getting the boots really early. This actually might make sense, because I went straight for the flute and mirror.
Yeah, that makes... I mean, that was another option as well, yeah, getting the early flute.
Yeah, then I had a slight derp not getting the hammer immediately after the hook shot, so I had to come back for that.
Ooh,
and
wow.
yeah, I was also considering like skipping the lamp at first for Pod and getting the boots and then going to get the lamp, but yeah, the lamp was kind of an awkward point.
Yeah, lamp and bombos were the two most awkward things, I think, and I guess mirror as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, at some point you have to go get flute and mitts, because there's no way you're mirroring from there, considering you need flute and mitts to get there.
So what I actually forgot during the seed was that Swamp Palace was a pendant. So after getting lamp, I should have just gone straight to Swamp Palace and then gone into Pod instead. That was like...
Yeah, if you had mirror already, that would make sense. You probably gained quite a bit of time with me if you got mirror that early to do doing Pod, and yeah, getting Swamp there would have been faster as well.
But this was a super interesting seed, and I had a lot of fun. Like, looking at all the items and stuff, I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. But there were so many different ways you could do things. Like,
yeah, it was an interesting one.
It was really cool.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it back to see what you did. I wasn't watching the restream. Just I get stressed enough with these. Not watching the restream.
I just really enjoy listening to commentary while racing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it just kind of helps take the edge off in a way.
Yeah, fair enough. I might want to try that next time. The last couple weeks of Swiss, a few weeks of Swiss, I guess.
Don't listen if I'm calming because I'm, a dingus.
I've been enjoying it, so I think something's right.
Nah, you're fine.
Meanwhile, I keep saying that I'm not going to be calming your races, Freddeh, because we share a name. But
I feel like you've calmed every single one of my races ever since then.
I honestly, when I sign up for stuff, I don't even look at who's racing. I just like the times. Like, oh, I can sign up for these every time I get it. I'm like, oh, it's Freddeh. Oh, well, I'm just going to have 3 more people saying Freddeh for the next hour and change.
It's fine.
Yeah, I really appreciate the comp, so it's a lot of fun. Listening to commentators like focusing on execution in Randomizer, because that's something that I sometimes miss. Because of course it makes a lot of sense to look at routing and what options are, but to actually look at like random specific strats and all that, it's a lot of fun to listen to what people focus on.
I actually have the most fun routing individual dungeons when I do this. Like, routing, where to get all the stuff is fun, but individual dungeons can vary wildly, depending on where stuff is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was talking about, actually. In Pod in particular, is it's usually a nightmare, especially if there's something in the back, because you're sitting here like, okay, I need 1, 2, 3, 4 keys unless I use the front door, and if I don't use the front door, how much more time is it worth grabbing that 5th key? I don't know.
Yeah, this one in particular was kind of weird with only 1 key between shooter room and bow locked.
Yeah, that was really awkward. I had to make the long route.
Also, yeah, that's what I ended up doing as well.
Another loop, but oh man.
Yeah, I looped around and got the bridge chest, then forgot to actually hit the switch. And then that lost me a bit of time for sure. And then ended up just death warping back and going back through Bowlock side to finish instead of dropping down to Stalfos and running back around. I'm not sure which one is faster, but that's the one I decided to go with.
I was considering dipping into the basement and going back, but then I just decided to do another right side loop.
Yeah,
the Bowlock area.
Exact same thing I did, so yeah.
I guess it could have
works,
the compass. I guess the compass chest is the one.
That was the other one. I was like, I could go to compass, but then like I have to reset the room anyway at that point, so it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hard thing to route.
It's definitely my weakness, though. Like looking at the individual dungeons, I actually had to stand still for a few moments. Like, wait, in Hera, where is the small key? I know I need the big key, but where's the small key?
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking something was in the basement, so I was about to go to the basement. Then I looked at the thing like, oh no, it's just in the first chest, or the main floor chest. But yeah, it was a fun scene.
Yeah. It was fun to watch too, to see how close you were. Again, at the end there, I mean, when at the end of the race, 2-minute difference, but coming out of Turtle Rock, or when Eri was coming out of the portal, there was a 30-second difference at that point. So after all that, crazy divergence, it was really cool. And yeah, I totally agree with you, Eri. I really like that the spoiler races give kind of a different focus on execution and random specific strats they wouldn't otherwise have, because it's so easy to just be like, oh, rando's gonna rando, or if they find this item here, then the lead can change, instead of like thinking about, okay, well, how are they playing though, and I think that's really fun. But yeah, this is a great race for highlighting that. Both of you pulled out some cool tricks and execution stuff that you don't normally see, and it was just a pleasure to get to watch you run.
Yeah,
thank you very much for the race, Freddeh, and good luck in the next rounds. Hope you can make it.
You too, man. Thank you. Keep those wins coming for me.
I'll try. Tiebreak is incoming.
Yep, I know, right? Be crazy at the end.
All right, and looking ahead tonight, it's actually just getting approved by me right now, but there is another match up for restream, which is going to be Ace Zero versus Act the Boker. This is a 1-2 race, which is, you wouldn't expect this to be a 1-2 race between these two runners, but it is, in part thanks to Freddeh for knocking Act down to a loss there. But yeah, so that's going to be really exciting, coming up on SG2 at 8:15 Eastern. So stick around, check that out, and we'll have more races to come. Hammer, it was a pleasure as always.
Yeah, it was great coming with you. Quick reminder, shout outs to our runners. Go ahead and follow them because they make this game look easy. And it's not, I swear. I promise this game's not easy, even though they make it look that way. Also, shout outs to our tracker pressing the buttons today, Dark Diplomat. Tracking is difficult, and tracking during a spoiler log race is tracking on hard mode because everything comes really, really fast. That is all I've got, I believe. You guys have a great night. And Kern, if you want to send us out with the last word, it's all yours, man.
I'll just say good night and good races, everybody, and we'll see you in the future.